Thank
Oh, I know how you are.
I'm sitting here talking to
Funny
you.
was with you.
No, I'm with Mrs.
Oh, I know you are, but I thought he was with you. Right, mate.
You on recording?
I need my mic. I need my
mic.
So hold on, no, I've got my mic.
Want it in there?
Put this one in here. Hold on. I'm feeling fine.
You're shaking, man.
I
You're
know,
shaking.
so I'm angry, mate. Guys and dolls, Freedom Dad here, outside the Chimney Hotel where they're holding migrants, illegal entries into our country. Whether they say they're illegal or whether they say they're illegal, they've been brought into this country by a treacherous government who does not represent the country, got in with 20% of the vote, and are at the minute destroying the mainland of England. And the treacherous government in Ireland are doing the exact same in Ireland. And I'm standing here in front of the PSNI, who find it appropriate to film the mothers and fathers, the grannies and granddads, and the aunties and uncles that are coming out to say we do not want this in Northern Ireland. We do not want the 800,000 children plus who have been raped and abused by Pakistani grooming men and other foreigners who have come into the country in England that has been documented and is fact, is not misinformation. And this is the attitude from the PSNI. I'm going to show you the camera that they keep bringing to the demos to film the patriots. This is not 1919. This is not 1990. It's not the 2000s. We aren't terrorists. The people that are here are not terrorists, but the PSNI and the government, the PSNI under the instruction of the government are treating us like terrorists, and things need to change. Our politicians need to step up and start coming out with these people and start being under this camera, the PSNI camera, gathering intelligence along with these parents, because this is not acceptable. There's never been any violence at the Chimney Corner Hotel. There's never been a stone thrown. There's never been a petrol bomb thrown. There's never been nothing but peaceful demonstrations. Yes, the road has been closed off a few times, right? Fair enough. But that's it. There's no reason for the camera to be here. We are going forward peacefully. There's no road being closed off. You know, they probably know more about this demo than I do, you know what I mean, with their intelligence and the amount of informants that we have in our communities right now. So, you know, the question needs to be asked, who do they think we truly are? Who do the government and the PSNI think the people that come to this hotel to demonstrate, to stop what's going on in England and Wales and Scotland and what's going on in Ireland are just wanting to stop coming here? So, you know, I have been saying this over and over again. If they're going to film us, then we're going to film them. And it's only fair, you know. And it's not about them just doing a job and all the rest of it. This is a message to the higher ups, the ones that are watching these videos, the government that are watching these videos. You know, we aren't terrorists. These people aren't terrorists. There's no need for this kind of... We understand there needs to be a presence, but the camera with the directional mic following me everywhere I go, there's no need for it. So let's have a look of what we're up against. Do you want to sort of come with me? You want to make sure you get them. So these are the concerned parents. These people are the concerned parents, guys. Just mothers and fathers, aunties and uncles. They're not terrorists, you know. Protestants and Catholics coming together for the first time in Northern Ireland under one banner, under one cause, outside this hotel. Just going to do a piece here, mate. So this is the problem. This is the answer from the government. Cameras with directional mics on them, treating these people as if they're terrorists, treating these people as if they've done something wrong. I mean, look at that flag. There's the red hand, the Ulster, and the tricolour together on one pole. Never before seen. in Northern Ireland. This is new. We've seen it at the very start, and this is the reaction. This is the reaction of Protestants and Catholics coming together. This is the government, and this is the PSNI. Let me see if we can get these guys. We will get them coming out. We will get these guys coming out, guys. Because, what's that? Yeah, yeah. So, guys, this is, it's the world of media. It's the world of cameras. It's the world of photons, as Charlie Veet says. And, yeah, fair enough. Film away. But then don't complain at us when we film you. You know what I mean? I'm not here to film the police. But if they're here to film us, then that changes the game, doesn't it? Let's be honest, guys. If they're going to come out here with this Land Rover everywhere Freedom Dad goes and everywhere these parents go, then we are going to film them everywhere they go. And this is the message. You've got cameras. You see the police in your area. Film them. Look what they're doing to us. Look what they're doing to us. That's what they're doing to us. That's what they're doing to the parents. People coming together on their one cause. It's okay. It's okay. And yeah, so if the police are in your area, any area, no matter what they're doing, you film them. You film them like they are filming us, right? That's what we need to do now, because it's getting silly, Like I say, there's never been any violence or any problems at Chimney Corner, and hopefully it keeps going like that at all the demos.
These are only usually brought out on arrests situation.
Yeah, what do you want to make? Do you want to remake? Do you want to remake? As Stevie was saying there, these guys are only brought out in protest situations, riotous situations where people are rioting, people are committing, breach of the peace and all that. You know what I mean? They could have the camera down there with the unmarked car that they've got hiding down the corner there. They could have the camera down there, even just watching people coming. They don't need to sit like that, intimidating the men and women who are coming here to demonstrate against what's going on. There's absolutely no need for it. And but this is where we are. This is Northern Ireland. This is the beginning of what you had to deal with in England. This is the persecution and the silencing of anybody that's against this carry on. These characters are in here who we have no clue who they are. Don't know where they came from. We don't even know where they're going, because this is what would you call it when people go through something. What's the word I'm looking? Like like when people go through, like, what is it in jail where you go through?
Rehabilitation.
No, not rehabilitation. When you go into jail, some jails you go on the one wing and then they move you on to different wings and stuff like that. It's like there's a name for it, but it's like a center. This is like what's going on here, guys. It's how many's in this? 100 or something like that? 100 plus foreigners in this again hotel. No, it's like no, because it's going through a system. They're coming in. They're not just sitting here. I mean, these I don't know how long these men are staying in this hotel before they're getting put into our community. We don't know. We have no idea. We're not getting told nothing. It's all being hidden from us. It's all being kept quiet. And anybody comes up against it is being silenced. And then we see the position of the police. And, like I say, guys, I'm a citizen journalist. And, I'm just here to report on what's going on. And that's what's going on. That's where we're at. That's where we're at. And please pay attention to this, guys. This should tell you everything you need to know. The way the papers are getting on, the way the journalists are all behaving, the way quite a lot of the politicians are being silent. High Sinn Féin are behaving with the Irish language, and it's all created to take the attention away from the most serious problem this country has ever faced in its life. Please believe me, the Troubles is a walk in a park compared to what's coming in 20 or 30 years' time. A walk in the park. And people say, well, Freedom Dad, it's 20 or 30 years' time. Why do you bother? Why do you bother? Because we are the last stand. Our children will not be able to do what we're doing. Our grandchildren will certainly not be able to do what we're doing. The only people that can set the foundations to stop this happening for our children and grandchildren is us, is these men and women, is you watching this right now. Every single person sitting there right now watching this video, whether it's live or whether you're catching up with it later, you're the one that can do something about this, you know. And yeah, yeah, you've got to come out and support these guys because they're under so much pressure. And don't be intimidated because this is what they want. This is what this Land Rover with this camera is for, with the directional mic on it. It's there to intimidate people, to make people feel uneasy, to make you feel like you're doing something wrong. You're not doing something wrong. Freedom Dad will tell you this now. There's not one single. These are the bravest, most brightest, most awake people that I know in this country. I'm telling you that now. And these guys, the police, they're bought off. They are bought off. You know, I don't know how they go home to their families and tell their families what they're doing. You know, honestly, we will be putting them online. They will be going online. They will be getting seen. And one day, people will look back maybe and go, you know what? What were you doing? What were you doing when this country was getting replaced? You know, because it's replacement. England's being replaced. It's fact. GB News are reporting on it now. Cities in England was zero population of any English people left. They're all out. They're all out. You're talking 95, 99% foreigners in cities around England. You know, places unrecognisable as English cities and towns, where their traditions and their cultures are gone, where their churches and their chapels are gone, replaced with Islam and other religions, you know. And it's not about not wanting or not allowing or not being inclusive to other religions. It's overwhelming. We don't mind you coming here if you need a bit of refuge until you can sort yourself out and maybe go back and fix your own country. But, you know, coming here and settling down and then getting involved in our politics and voting on that and then changing things to the way you want it, where you were in Pakistan or Afghanistan or Syria or Iraq. If you want all that, go back. Don't bring it here. We don't want it. We don't want it. Nobody wants it in Northern Ireland, you know. No matter what some of these headers in our media, our left-wing media, because that's what they are. You know, most of our media come from the left, whereas the Palestinians, whereas you see with the IRA contacts and with the PLO, and then you go right back into the Catholics. You know, how many Protestants do you know that are working in crime correspondence or doing stuff like that in our media? Think about that for a wee minute. How many Protestants are in our media? Can you see? And it's not, this isn't about two-tier. I don't want the Catholics thinking, oh, stop moaning about two-tier again, Freedom Dad. But I'm trying to make a point. You know, it's not about Protestants and Catholics. What I'm trying to say is about right and left. The left are destroying this country. So they need to have the left in power. They need to have the left in place, in that position. Whether it's the media, whether it's our schools, whether it's education, whether it's universities, whether it's social work, whether it's our health service, whether it's our judicial system, or whether it's the head of the police. You know, at the end of the day, guys, we've been infiltrated on many, many levels, and it's time to come out and tell people, tell the government that we know what yous are doing, we know what yous are up to. And the Protestants and Catholics need to do this together, guys. You know, we have to do this together. We need to have some sort of, like, you know, we're not at war and we're not fighting, but we need to have a common truce where we need to put all our differences aside, leave all your politics in the house, and come here as a concerned citizen. And when you go back home, you can pick whatever politics you've got back up again. You can be as bigoted and hatred as you want, if that's what you're into. If your heart's full of hate and you can't see another Ulster man or Irish man has a brother or sister in a time like this, then there's nothing I can do about that. But there's something that you can do. You can leave it in the house for a couple of hours, come here and support the men and women who are doing this for you, for your children, for your grandchildren, you know. And that's why I'm here. I had a few places to be today, you know, and it's really difficult trying to prioritise what to bring to my platform. And I always think to myself, you know, it's not about content. I could be at other places right now bringing other content that would get me more views, more likes, more subscribers, you know. But that's not what it's about. Freedom Dance Channel isn't about growing or being big or being having any ego or making money. Freedom Dance Channel is simply about bringing to you the news in Northern Ireland that's happening today and the reaction of the government and the police and making sure that you know the reaction. You see the silence, you see the reaction from the PSNI, you know, and we're not here for trouble. We're just wanting to bring awareness. We're wanting our government to wise up and have a look around. Stop gaslighting this. Just stop pretending that everything's all right. Stop pretending that it's all good. Westminster's all good. They represent Northern Ireland. There's nobody in Westminster that represents Northern Ireland. The union is about to fall apart right in front of our eyes, while our unionists are fucking silent about it. Come on, guys. How much of England are we going to give to Islam or other people coming into the countries before the unionists in Northern Ireland realise that the union isn't actually what we thought it was? How long is that going to take? Are you going to leave it to the death when it's too late to do anything about it? Or are you going to start making plans now? Because somebody needs a wake-up call, guys. Somebody needs a serious wake-up call. And if the breaking of the union doesn't wake them up over there, I don't know what else. Because please believe me, it's not far out there, the see Scotland going for another independent vote. They nearly got it the last time, and the way things are going, we're unionists. We're the biggest unionists in Great Britain. We're more British than the English. Nobody can argue with that, us unionists in Northern Ireland. And we're looking at it. I've got people all the time talking about independence. Do you think it will work? Do you think we could do it? That's what people are saying to me on the streets. What do we do? What options do we have? I've even had Irishmen thinking about this, like coming over to us to get away from the EU. It's madness. There's things being spoke about and discussions being had between Protestants and Catholics right now in Northern Ireland that are unprecedented. And this is a problem. It's just popped up. Like, nobody's ready for it. Nobody understands it. And I'm trying to bring it to use in a format and in a way in layman's terms. So nobody can say that they didn't know. The politicians can't say they didn't know, we weren't aware. We didn't know that the people weren't happy. Sometimes I think the politicians and the government sit there and just judge everything by protests. And that's the biggest mistake they're going to make. Because the biggest protesters, I believe, not bigger than this, but they're in the house. They're coming up to me in the streets and they're saying to me, Freedom Dad, I would love to go to a protest. There's 20 quid because I can't go to the protest because of my work, because of my family, because the papers are calling you far right and racist. So if I'm seeing you and because you are all filming and you are all doing lives, there's a possibility I could be labelled like that and I could be ostracised in my work or even worse, fired. You know what I mean? And this is what helps it. This fucking thing helps it. That helps push the government's rhetoric that we're all far right and racist and we need a Land Rover with a camera to watch us all like we're all terrorists. Nah, guys, we need to wake up. You all need to wake up. And I never ask us, but you need to share this out. You can show it to your friends. You don't have to like it or anything. Just share it out. I don't make any money from this video. I won't make a penny from this video. So there's no other reason for me to ask you. It's just get the word out there, guys. Let them know what's going on. Let them know who these people are. Let them know that we aren't far right and racist. Let them know who the papers are. Let them know who mainstream media are. Who are the people that are writing these headlines? Where are they from? What politics? What type of politics are they? Or what's the word when you're not taking one side or the other, Stevie? And you're being unbiased.
Yeah, essentially.
Do you think our media are being unbiased? You can work out tomorrow when you see the Sunday papers. You know what I mean? And yeah, I can put a load of money on it. You know what I mean? They'll be writing stuff about me right now. And because I've had 2 weeks off. I mean, the first time since I've came back in the last 6 months, I've had 2 weeks without being in the papers in a row. You know what I mean? But they gave me a treble before that. I was in every Sunday 3 weeks before that.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow. You know what I mean? But we're used to it now. We're used to it. These guys are used to it. My friends, people around me, people that care about me, who it affects a lot more than it affects me, are used to it. But yeah, guys, this is serious. This isn't games. This isn't anybody like. These guys are going out of their way to come here, on a Saturday, 1 o'clock, half one now. You know, like I say, we've all got better things to do. You know, um, and they're here, and you've got to understand that they're here for a reason. And I don't know how else to get it across. I feel like I'm banging the same drum over and over and over again. And what all I can ask you to do is share the stuff. Anybody that's doing anything like this, whether it's TikTok or on YouTube or on X, get it shared, get it out there. We're trying our hardest to bring awareness to you, to let you know what's truly going on under the under extreme pressure from many directions. You really do not know the half of it of much pressure Freedom Dad's in under right now. And you know, it's part and parcel. It's just walking up a big hill right now. That's what it's like. But I know once I get to the top of this hill, it's going to be all downhill. You know, that's the way I see it. And I'm prepared to walk up that hill, and I'll walk up that hill with baggage on my back to do what I need to do for my country and to do what I need to do specifically for my wee Lucky and for her children, you know. And yeah, guys, it's all there for you to research. You know, where are these men going? Where did these men come from? They don't even know how old these men are half the time. They come over here without documentation, and they make up a name, they make up a date of birth, and then they're given papers, and they're given citizenship, and then they're given a passport, and then they call themselves Ulster men, or Irish men, or Scottish men, or English, or Welsh, you know, Pakistani man, Iraqi, Syrian, Afghanistan, you know, getting caught with child pornography, and then the papers are saying Belfast man, caught, you know, up in court. His name's Abdul Muhammad. There's nothing Belfast about that guy. I can tell you that now for nothing. And that's the facts. That's the truth. You know, you can't just come into a country, be here 3 months, 4 months, get a passport and jump about saying that you're one of us. You know, nothing against you, like, but, you know, you're in here through a traitorous government. And this is the other thing I want to make really important. I'm going to keep on saying this. I don't care how many times I say it. This is important. We have to stop them voting. They are here to vote. They are getting brought in here to vote for Sinn Féin, Alliance, SDLP, Labour, you know, and Reform in the future. And that's facts. You know, so we need to stop all it. You need to speak to your politicians. You need to give your politicians a hard time. You need to ask them what they're doing about it. You need to make sure you get clear answers. You need to ask them, do they know what's going on in England? Have they been to Rotherham? Have they been to Rochdale? Have they been to Luton? Have they been to Leicester? Have they been to London lately? Ask them these questions. If they ever doubt you, ask them have they been there. And if they say no, I haven't, then say, what the fuck? Why are you making these? Why not just go over there and check out what Freedom Dad's saying? Why don't you travel over on the boat and see what the security's like? Why not travel up and down into Southern Ireland to see how easy it is to come back and forth? You heard John Downs when I interviewed him the other day. It's like a funnel, and it's going to come up and it's going to overflow in Northern Ireland. Now, I'm hoping and praying that the Irish Patriots are able to sort this out. I'm hoping and praying that the Irish men and women are able to vote the right people in to get these people that have come into their country illegally back out their door, you know. And there's no two ways about it. There's not a man around me or a woman around me anywhere I've been who have never agreed with the word I'm saying. There's not a man or a woman in any of my areas or anywhere I go do not agree that they are wanting these men removed and out of our country. You know, there's not one person around me doesn't disagree with me that they've been brought in by a traitorous government. You know, there's no two ways about it. Maybe one day the truth will come out of what's truly happened to the governments in this country. Not just Labour, but the Conservatives as well. They've all been compromised. Our royal family, compromised. Totally and utterly compromised, you know. And anybody that allows these kind of things to happen to a country so beautiful as Northern Ireland, that's been through so much trouble, been through so much conflict, any government that sits on their hands or squeezing their hands, it's out of our hands. You should not be in power. And we will bring you down. The people of Northern Ireland, both Protestants and Catholics, will bring any government down that does not stop this madness, stop the migration into Northern Ireland, and protect the children and our children's future. Stop the Islamification of our country. It's like mixing oil and water. It doesn't work. They do not integrate with our society. It's not about us. It's about them. You know, we do not have our women covered up. We do not make our women walk behind us. We do not have cousin marriages. Well, okay, there is some travelers that do that. Fair enough, but not on any extreme where it would affect our national health in the coming years. Because that's the kind of problems that we get from cousin marriages, birth defects, and other things that come up that needs lots of health care, which costs a lot of money. You know, and the bottom line is, guys, we're already struggling. We're already struggling. You got people waiting in ambulances for fucking 8 hours outside the hospital. You can't get through on the phone. People are giving up, even trying the phone to get an appointment and anything, because you're having to wait for ages and listen to stupid music because there's so many people trying to get through. Everything, dentists, mental health, drug addictions. There's people waiting for years to get the services that they need. And they're now bringing people who are going to overwhelm them services even more, because these people do need help. There's no two ways about it. Some of these people have got mental health issues. Yeah. Some of these people are, have got other issues that just normal people have. But what I'm trying to say, there's 55 Muslim countries around the world. There's a lot more countries and Muslim countries as well. Why Northern Ireland? Why the 6 counties in Northern Ireland? Why England? Why Ireland? The Emerald Isle? The capital of Roman Catholic, the Catholics. That's what we see Ireland. And then obviously we've got to address what's happening to our religion. Why are our religious leaders so quiet? That's another question you need to ask your religious leaders, whether you're Protestant or Catholic. You need to ask your ministers. You need to ask your priests, why are they being so silent? And we need to replace them as well. This is a time when you're going to see who's compromised, who's bought, and who truly cares for our country. This is the time when you're going to find out who the true patriots are, who the true Irishmen are, who the true Ulstermen are, whether that be politicians, whether that be police chiefs, or whether that be mainstream media, whether that is the church. Something's not right. An awful lot of silence, guys, and you need to start doing your own research and asking your own questions. I can't do this on my own. Yous have got to help me, help yous, and help the future of your kids. I can't do this. It's too much. The flack I'm getting, the stress I'm under, it is overwhelming. Truly is overwhelming. And I stand on my own most of the time. We've got Stevie Baker, we've got Lindsay Brown, we've got CJ Audits keeping an eye on the PSNI, and we've got a couple of TikTokers that are going off in different directions for whatever reason they're doing that. But there should be not one man or woman in this country right now that's online that shouldn't be addressing mass immigration. Simple as that. This is the most important thing. These guys are coming in on boatloads. So here's another thing as we're talking about boatloads. One in, one out. Does anybody know how many has been deported since? You know how many came in on the boats the other day? In one day? 1,000. That's Labour's solution, by the way. That's their answer to us when they say, oh, well, we better do something. Right, we're going to come up with an idea. We're going to put one in, one out. You know the other one about the one in, one out? France need to tell us, we need to tell France if we're going to give them anybody that's got a criminal record, but they don't need to tell us. It's nuts. I mean, the whole thing from start to finish, you could go deep dive every step of the last 20 years and see how ridiculous it is. You can go right back to Tony Blair. Tony Blair. Now, Tony Blair has been put forward as some sort of peace negotiator or somebody who's running the scene in Gaza and Palestine. Hamas have agreed to the peace conditions and have agreed to surrender and release the hostages under one condition. Do you know what that one condition is? This is the most brutal, horrible, nasty terrorists in the world. And their one condition was they didn't want Tony Blair anywhere near them. How nuts is that? Tony Blair's the one to watch. Tony Blair's the one to research. If you go right back, it all started with Tony Blair. And then Starmer, right back when he was prosecution, set in the laws to make it available for these guys and the governments and the police to allow these people to come into our country. It goes back. It's been planned. You know what I mean? There's a lot at play, and it's too much for me to go into the Fabian Society and the whole carry on. You have got to do your own research. But in layman's terms, this is it. We're being replaced. They're saying that we don't have enough workers. They're saying that these people are coming to do the jobs we don't want to do. They're saying that they're doctors, nurses, and engineers. This is the truth. Our doctors, nurses, and engineers have left because our government wouldn't pay them the right money for the jobs they were doing. And people around the world in other countries are paying a lot more. So anybody with any sense that wants to bring a family into this world and be as comfortable as possible are going to go where the money is. So the answer to the government was then to bring in cheaper labour from foreign countries. So what they actually do there is that they're bringing in doctors and engineers and nurses from some of the most vulnerable countries around the world to come to our country and replace our doctors, nurses, and engineers for cheaper. What are we doing to them countries by taking their best out of it? What chance have them countries got when we're taking the best of their men and women out of there to bring here? They're here to do the jobs we don't want. Do you know what them jobs are? Caring for our elderly, caring for our disabled, cleaning toilets, security, standing on your feet all day, and Asda's, McDonald's, Boots, you know, and the migrant hotels now. So the reason why we don't want to do them jobs is because they just pay over minimum wage. They're the hardest jobs in society. Cleaning toilets, looking after our elderly, our frail, our vulnerable. It's difficult. You're dealing with Alzheimer's. You're dealing with mental health. Is it? Could I get a couple of checks on the sound, guys? It could be this fucking Land Rover. Give me a out of 10 on the out of 10 on the sound, guys. Is that? Yeah. They're the hardest jobs. Cleaning toilets and all the rest of it, right? We know that it's the hardest jobs in society, and they again pay minimum wage. So yeah, we don't want to do them jobs for them kind of prices. You know what I mean? Simple as that, guys. That's just the world we live in. But again, their answer is to bring foreigners in, and this is my problem. A foreigner does not know how to look after our elderly because they don't know what our elderly have been through. They don't know our culture, they don't know our traditions, and they don't know the life that we've led. It can be very difficult and very frustrating looking after people with Alzheimer's and things like that. And some of our elderly can be quite racist as well. You know, there's no two ways about it. They come from an era that was different than ours, you know? And I don't feel comfortable, you know, knowing that our elderly are being looked after by maybe people that are not even the same religion, never mind the same country. And we've seen evidence of cruelty towards our elderly by these type of people. You know what I mean? So nothing I'm saying is said without evidence. I'm not just picking things out of the air and throwing it out there for the sake of making this video. I'm uncomfortable telling you these things. These are topics and things I don't want to be talking about. I really don't, but they need to be addressed. You know, I don't want to go into a care home covered in Union Jacks on my back, on my arm, and seen as some sort of far right, especially now that people know me because of the papers being called a racist. I don't want to be getting cured by Muslims in hospital or in a care home that are going to take offence to who I am or what I was or the tattoos on my arms. I want to be looked after by men and women from my own community. And that should be a precedent that's set in every country, every town, every city, every village. If you've got elderly, vulnerable people that need care, you should have locals from that area that know that area to do them jobs. And if you pay the right money, there'll be a long queue at the door to take them jobs. And that's the problem we got. And people will say, you know, well, it's the world we live in. We don't have the money. We've got 400 million for hotels. 400 million for hotels. Have you any idea how much this is costing us? How much this has cost the taxpayer? We're into billions. We're at 1.5 billion a month just on paying them social benefits. Think about that. 1.5 billion Facts again, and I'm being conservative, right? Because I've done this myself. Because I know the figures of how many foreigners are receiving benefits, right? So with them benefits comes adult disability, housing benefit, and lots of other perks. Okay, I'm a working class man. I know all about benefits. We all know about benefit fraud. I mean, we used to get slaughtered with it. They used to back in the day. That was a big topic for all our journalists coming down and guys in the working class that were getting DLA, that were jumping about playing football on the weekends, and there would be people taking photographs, and they would be all over the Sunday world. We know all about it. Our guys are just as bad, you know what I mean? But the thing is that there are guys, their parents have paid into the system. Their grannies and granddads have paid into the system. These guys' parents haven't. These guys' parents, grannies and granddads haven't. These guys have just arrived here 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, and they're getting nearly £2,000 a month. How many of you are making £2,000 a month? How much have you got left after that? Because they're not paying, they're not having to pay housing benefit. They're getting cars and PIP and all the rest of it because they've got NGOs and people and translators that make sure they get everything they want. If anybody's gone from working to going on the social in this country, you know how difficult it is to get anywhere. How difficult it is to sit on the phones. These guys are getting priority. I mean, we've got doctors going out to these hotels. They don't have to phone up for half an hour to wait to get through to get an appointment for a month's time. No. These guys are getting rapid response from their doctors. They don't have any waiting queues. These guys are jumping in front. The same with the kids that they're bringing from Gaza. They're jumping in front of our kids in Northern Ireland, whose parents are having to go private because there's no availability. The waiting lists are too long to get the treatment that they need, the operations that they need to save their lives. We've got over 15,000, maybe even 25,000 people waiting on serious operations because of the waiting lists. And this is what they do. Fucking undermen. And this is the tip of the iceberg, guys. This is the tip of the iceberg. There's 100 men in this hotel right now, right? But there's probably 1,000 men that's went through this hotel in the last year or two. Because we don't know. We're just assuming. But they're not just coming in here and spending all their days or all their months and years in here. They're in here until they get a place in our society, in our communities. And they happen to be the Protestant Unionist Loyalist communities right now. And you've got to ask yourself some serious questions, guys. What the fuck's going on? What is going on? Seriously, like, you must be watching and looking at what's going on for you that are awake and thinking, why? Why are they doing this to us? What have we done? And it's not about Protestants and two-tier and all that. This affects all of us. This will affect all of us down the line. In 20 years' time, every one of us are going to be affected by this. Just like every single one of them in England, in Rotherham and Rochdale and Luton and Leicester and Birmingham and London were affected by it. No man or woman was left out back over there. So why would you think anything's going to be different over here? Same in Ireland. Both Protestants and Catholics in Southern Ireland. They're exactly the same. It's happening to both Protestants and Catholics. It's not just the Protestants or it's not just the Catholics. The two-tier is going to be across the board. Any man that comes up against what the government are doing right now to our countries by replacing them, whatever reason, and that's one you need to work out yourselves. You need to look into that and see who's behind that. But guys, I'm going to get a wee chat with folk, you know what I mean? About 15 minutes. It's only an hour, this demo. So I am going to wrap it up. What night is it? Saturday night. I'll come live at night because I'm going to be going to christening tomorrow. Looking forward to that. And we'll come live at night. We'll get a wee chat. And we'll get rid of the trolls tonight. We'll speak to the moderators and we'll just have a wee chat with no trolls. We'll have a wee break from the trolls. If Super Patcher comes in, we'll allow him to come in. 1-5, he's going to be gone because we know who he is now. I should have dealt with that last night and I apologise. I should have just blocked the guy. Obviously we know who he is now. And, he's just going to come back with another fake account and play games with Freedom Dad. And, this is the thing. This isn't the time for playing games with Freedom Dad. This isn't the time to be hating Freedom Dad. This isn't the time to be spreading crazy rumours about Freedom Dad. If you don't like me, fucking just keep me out of your mouth. Just let me get on with what I'm doing. It's as simple as that. I'm not causing you any problems, and in your life. You're not even in my thoughts, but it's other people that are coming and saying, what are they all about? What's he all about? What's the crack with that? Because as we go forward, You're all going to stand out like sore thumbs. And again, you've got to deal with that. I don't need to do nothing. You know, people are going to question your motives. They're going to go, "What the fuck? What's Freedom Dad done to you?" Freedom Dad's working really hard, really, really hard, and again, not eating properly, having to watch my security, head on a swivel, threats from the IRA, threats from the NLA, and getting spat in the face by Palestinians and supporters who are masquerading as Palestinian supporters are actually dissidents. You know, so give me a break. Wise up, wind your necks in, do whatever you're doing, but leave my name out of your mouth. If you haven't got the balls to come and say it in my face, just don't embarrass yourself by bad mouthing me behind. Everybody knows where I am. Anybody in my community, you know where I am. Come and speak to me. You know, when you're slobbering about me behind my back to other people, you just look like an idiot. You know, it's embarrassing. So it is, and it's going to be more embarrassing as we go forward for you. And that's all I've got to say about that. And you know, I just want to say thank you to the community on both sides, both Protestants and Catholics. Absolutely amazing. The love I'm getting, the respect I'm getting everywhere I go. People cuddling me, hugging me, shaking my hand, telling me not to stop. And listen, I'm overwhelmed by it. I'm humbled by it. Truly am. And I just want to say thank you to you guys, all you guys on my platform, all you guys on the street that aren't on YouTube, and everybody that lays down the comments and supports Freedom Dad whenever the people put negative comments up. You know, you can always spot a brave man when they go on and put comments down when they actually know who I am, but won't come and say it to my face. That tells you everybody about these people. And yeah, it is what it is. Everybody knows what's going on. Everybody around me, I tell everybody. I'm not shy in telling people who's against me and who's for me and who they are and what they're all about. I'll tell everybody, you know. And why not? I'm not going to call you out online, but I'm going to tell everybody around me the strength of these guys and what these are all about. You know what I mean? I don't know whether there's jealousy or well, I just don't know what it is. You know what I mean? But I ain't said nothing bad. I'm a loyal man. I have no hate in my heart for any man or any woman. And all I want to do is make sure I'm doing the right thing for my daughter. That's it. It's my daughter. Like your daughter's come into it and your families and all the rest in our future. But it's my daughter. It's my wee lucky. I'm standing here. I'm doing all this, getting spat in the face, taking all this abuse, getting called an MI5 agent because of my daughter, my wee lucky, and my wee lucky's future and her children coming. It's not just for the day. It's not just for the tomorrow. It's for the next 100 years. And we will fix it, guys. We will together. One way or the other, we will fix this. I'm Freedom Dad. And God bless.